At the beginning of the film, we see a bounty hunter man amidst the forest. He is a biologist, and in the course of his research, he is living in the forest far away from the city. One day during this very research, he is bitten by a poisonous snake in the jungle. He became very panicked, and his phone also fell here. He couldn't call anyone for help anymore. He tried to extract the poison by amputating his own hand, but that didn't work either. Going home, he also cut his leg, but it was too late. The poison was spreading in his body, and he was experiencing strange and severe hallucinations. He remained like this for several days. One day, many scientists came to take him. He was somewhat conscious of the situation and was still alive, but he had no strength in his body. He gathered courage and tried to call these people, but he couldn't make a sound. Seeing this, everyone left, realizing that Aish was not present. A scene a few days later was shown where poison continued to leak out from the place where he had cut his hand, and the little poison that had affected his brain was now starting to subside. He was only experiencing slight hallucinations. Upon regaining consciousness, he immediately decided to go to the city hospital. He cleaned his vehicle and set off toward the city. But a strange thing he noticed was that there were no vehicles on the roads, and when he reached the city, he saw that no one was alive there. All the buildings were deserted. Seeing this, he panicked. A pandemic, meaning a virus, had spread here. This virus was so dangerous that it had killed all the population within a few days. Since Aish was a biologist, he understood that he had stayed away from the population for many days, which is why this disease had not attacked him, and he had survived. Obviously, the population had been wiped out, so there was no government left, and no one owned anything here. Immediately, Aish remembered his parents. He quickly drove home, but when he reached, he saw that his parents had been dead for days, and their bodies were in very bad condition. He cried a lot, but then he gathered courage and dug graves outside his own house to bury their bodies. Early the next morning, he looked around the entire city and saw that no other survivor was alive. Thinking about this, he decided that he would go to another city. He decided to go to Las Vegas, taking some essential items and a gun, and set off. However, the bridge that led to Las Vegas was also sealed. He felt very helpless and took a long route. As soon as he reached Las Vegas, he saw that all the people here were also dead. Malls, big hotels, casinos, all were empty. Tired, he went to a hotel, spent the night there, and enjoyed expensive things because now all of this was free for him. He had lost hope that he would meet anyone, but the next night he met two people. These two had also survived the disease. The girl shared her sorrowful story that she had seen her family die on a video call and now had no hope of living, while the man also wanted to die because he couldn't survive alone in such a deserted world. That night, these people also stayed with Aish, but in the morning, their intentions seemed dangerous to Aish. The man had a gun and intended to kill all three of them to make their deaths easier. However, Aish wanted to live, so he got up and left, hearing the sound of bullets behind him, meaning the two had taken their own lives. This incident broke him even more, and he strongly felt that he was now completely alone in the world. Driving fast, he returned home. On the way, a dog came in front of his car. The dog was also as lonely as Aish. Aish made it his companion, and he gained a new hope to live. He began to live his life anew, started reading survival books, as there was no shortage of food and drink. There was no need to earn anymore. During working hours, he roamed the entire town in the hope that maybe he would find another survivor, but every day he returned home empty-handed. One day, while standing by the window drinking tea with his dog suddenly started barking because it detected a human. There was smoke coming out of a house in the distance, meaning there could be someone there. Immediately, he took his vehicle and headed towards the house from where the smoke was coming. By chance, there was a girl there who got scared upon seeing him. She assured him that she had not come to harm him. She was also a lonely person looking for another survivor. Hearing this, the girl allowed him to come to her house. The girl's name was Emma. From their conversations, we learned that almost a year had passed since the pandemic. Both Emma and Aish had not seen any other survivor except each other during this entire year. They were happy to have found each other's company. Otherwise, living alone had become very difficult. These people were falling into depression because humans are meant to live in a society. Living alone had severely deteriorated their mental state. They decided that both of them would live together at Aisha's house because there was a journal store very close to Aisha's house where there was a supply of food, and Aish had also stored many things at his house that could make their lives easier. Emma also came to live at Aisha's house. When both started living together, their life became much better than before. Emma helped Aish in many tasks, fixed his appearance, and together they started renovating Aisha's house because Aish had not paid attention to his house during the entire year. To work together, they woke up every morning and achieved their targets. They also understood that if only these two people survived in the world, they should increase the population. Initially, it was their decision, but when Aish found out that Emma was pregnant, he became very scared. He was afraid that his child might not survive in this strange world. Emma encouraged him that everything would be fine. Aish, being a biologist, started reading books to understand the ways of childbirth because he knew that they were alone and would have to do this work themselves. At the same time, both were trying to perfect the house. Aish had also installed solar panels to ensure there was no electricity shortage during the pandemic because much time had passed, and the city had started to resemble a jungle. The wild animals from the jungle began to come towards the urban areas, becoming a big threat for them. Therefore, they built a fence around their house and kept some weapons to protect themselves from these animals. They had also kept many pets to fulfill their needs, and these people tried to stay as busy as possible. Since there were no humans around, the entire area became green, and the air here also became very clean. Their health had also improved significantly from before. Their life was perfect in a way, but then one day they faced another big problem. Mice came excessively into the city from somewhere, making Aish very panicked. To keep these mice away from his house, Aish started burning all the scrap around his house, but this could only work for one night. Emma explained to him that they would find a solution for this too. In the morning, Aish went out of the house, brought many cats from around, and released them here. The cats started eating the mice, and finally they got rid of this problem as well. Finally, the day came when Emma was to give birth to her child. Aish handled the entire process himself, and we were shown that they had a very lovely daughter, seeing whom they were very happy. They had gained a new hope to live. After this, they started writing their house address on the streets in the hope that if any survivor came here, they would reach their home for food and water. Before they realized, 6 years passed. Aish was heading toward the jungle for some work when suddenly a wild animal came in front of his car. Frightened, Aish got out and saw that the animal was still alive, suffering in pain. Therefore, Aish eased its trouble and shot it dead. A girl standing nearby was watching all this from a distance. Hearing the sound of the gunshot, she panicked and started running into the jungle. Aish saw her running and immediately chased after her to catch her. The girl thought that Aish would harm her, but Aish was not like that. They were both looking for survivors themselves. When he offered the hungry girl an apple to eat, the girl realized that Aish was genuine. Aish wanted to bring her home with him, but the girl did not sit in the car with him. Instead, she sat in the trunk. Upon returning home, it was seen that the girl was not ready to come out of the trunk. At home, they saw that over the years, Aish and Emma had 2 children, and now they were about to have a 3rd child. Seeing that they had written their address all over the town, 2 more survivors came to live with them. Their names were George and Marina, and they had been living with Aish and Emma for the past year because there was no shortage of anything here. Anyway, Aish brought the girl he had taken from the jungle, and the girl was still not coming out of the truck. She spent the whole night in the truck. In the morning, when Marina came to give her food, she panicked and threw the food away. Then Marina calmed her down and shared her story that she and George had been wandering in this lonely world for many months. They found Aish and Emma's address and started living with them. She mentioned that these 2 were very good and there was no lack of anything here. Hearing this, the girl started to calm down a bit and began to mingle with them. But strangely, the girl neither talked much till now, nor had she revealed her name. One day, Marina saw her belongings and noticed some strange drawings, and found out from a letter that the child's name was Eve. It was revealed that in the letter, her mother had written that during the pandemic, her father had raped her, which made her hate every person she met afterward. This letter was written by her mother, in which she wanted whoever she met to take care of her because her mother was about to die. Upon knowing this, everyone started taking extra care of Eve. That night, Emma gave birth to the 3rd child, making everyone very happy. A year passed like this. One day they received news that someone was coming to their area. Everyone got scared, sent the small children inside, and all the adults went out with guns to check who had come. They found out that it was another group of survivors consisting of 4 people. These people had also come here after seeing Aish and Emma's address. One of them was Dr. Molly, who had told them that in all these years, she could only meet these 4 living humans, and now she was meeting Aisha's family. From their demeanor and conversations, it seemed that these people would not harm anyone, so Aish and Emma also included them in their family. Besides, there was no lack of anything here. Now these people could form a big society together. Aish told these new members the rules of surviving in this world, that they must always keep their weapons with them because the world had now become like a jungle. They might encounter wild animals when they went out for supplies. Therefore, it was essential that they went out as a group. Otherwise, any wild animal or other things could harm them. After explaining all these principles, these people went out for supplies towards the malls and hospitals. Molly, who was a doctor, had collected many such things from the hospital that they could take into their community and use to treat everyone. Over the years, many children were born in this entire group, and other couples also had children. Their community was now growing bigger. Aish taught all his children and told them how previous communities were, how humans survive. He was teaching them so that in the future, they wouldn't face any difficulties. Their life was normal. A forest had grown around the house, and one day a big lion entered their home. Fortunately, at the right time, Aish's eye caught the lion. To save his children, Aish went there, and the lion attacked him. Before anyone could do anything, the lion killed him. Seeing this, everyone panicked and went to get out. The lion left from there. Seeing Aish's condition, Emma went crazy with anger and took a gun to shoot and kill the lion in the jungle. At the right time, Molly and everyone else together saved Aish's life, and then his treatment began. It took several weeks, but then Aish's health deteriorated again as before. 17 years passed, and the children of these people had now grown up. We learned that after so many years, Aisha's eldest daughter, Haidar, started getting involved with a boy from their group. Their friendship was very good, and no one had any complaints about it because all these people had to build relationships among themselves. Haidar and this boy now wanted to leave this town in the hope of exploring the world and finding more survivors. No one had any complaints about this, and these people gave them guns and some essential items and sent them on their journey. After they left, another problem arose. Although they had decent resources, they now faced a shortage of water. Going to the dam, they found that the water in the dams was running out, which could be deadly for them. A few days later, another group of survivors came to their area with 2 trucks. They were short of petrol and had come to ask Aish for help. In return, they said that they could solve their water problem because they had a drilling machine and could still extract water by drilling underground. Aish did not dislike this offer and took these people into his community, but warned all his people to stay cautious as these survivors might be dangerous. As it happened, these people started drilling at Aisha's house as per their deal. After many days of hard work, finally, water started flowing, and these people were very happy. The deal was complete, and Aisha's people also gave them oil. They celebrated tonight, and by morning, these people had to leave. Aish noticed that the leader of that group, Charlie, was coming out of one of their rooms at night in a very suspicious manner, and a man was guarding him outside. When he went to check, he found that Charlie had tortured Eve. Aish quickly informed his entire community about this. This was indeed dangerous. Eve said that she was not going to leave here because there were many guns nearby. Hearing this, everyone panicked, and Aish felt that they should kill Charlie. If they did not kill Charlie, he would kill their entire community, which had been built after so many years. All eyes were set on killing Charlie, but some were worried that very few people were left in this world. If they killed Charlie, there would be a significant decrease in the population. Then Aish told them that if they did not kill Charlie, they would also be killed. Now these people made a plan and surrounded Charlie from all sides before he could say anything. Aish killed him with an axe and then buried him. After doing all this, he felt very bad. It was the first time he had killed someone, and he did it for his survival. He knew it was not wrong as he did it to save his community, but he was still sad. In the morning, these people informed Charlie's group that they had killed their group leader Charlie because he had tortured a girl from their community. Hearing about Charlie's death, Charlie's entire group did not feel much bad, and some even said that Charlie had taken advantage of being a leader. He had also tortured the girls of his group, so everyone was happy about his death except one of his friends who kept shouting at them. Aish now told Charlie's entire group that they did not lack anything and that everyone could live here peacefully, but not this boy because he reminded him of Charlie, posing a threat to them. Taking the same opinion from everyone as a punishment, they expelled Charlie's friend from their community. Initially, the boy left, but when he realized that he couldn't survive alone in the outside community, he came back. However, Aish did not accept him for the security of his community. It was seen that all the children of the community were trying to make a plane from old research. They knew that they would perfectly make it in a few days, but before that, their community faced another big problem. Many people in the community were affected by the same virus that had spread 20 years ago. Previously, all these survivors had somehow become immune to it. Molly had a lot of medicine, so she treated all of them. But Aisha's son was very sick. His very bad condition was troubling the entire community. In this trouble, we see that Aisha's eldest daughter returned home alone. She was crying. Everyone asked her about her partner. And crying, she told the story that when they set out on the journey, they searched many cities for survivors. They searched every house but did not find any survivor. They kept writing their house address here and there, and then they reached a place in the forest where they found a person. He captured Hyder's partner and killed him. He had said that this was Charlie's revenge, meaning it was the same man whom Aish had expelled from his group. Hyder told that to save his life, he had killed him too, and then quickly returned home. Everyone was sad. They had not yet recovered from this grief that Aisha's other son had also died. The story did not end here. After the death of Aisha's son, 3 more members of their community were killed, and this incident broke Aish badly. He did not want to live in this world anymore. He wanted to leave this world. But then Emma supported him, just like when he was completely alone. She said, "Look, when we couldn't find anyone, both of us started life together, and now our group has become so big. We have to populate this world ourselves. If you give up now, who will train the group's children?" Hearing this, Aish gained some courage and went to the mountains to watch the sunrise. The sunrise of the past world was very different from now. Earlier, the colors of nature were dull, but now everything was bright. Seeing this, Aish realized that this was not the old world anymore. It was a new world. He was training his children to live in the old world, which was wrong. He understood that now he had to teach his children to survive in this new world. Going home, he gave this speech to his children. "We were going in the wrong direction until now. We were trying to live in the old world, but when the old world no longer exists, why should we train to live in it? This is a new world, and we have to live according to it." Shiny said, "From now on, you all learn what nature teaches you and what is necessary to live in this world." Their communication in this world had completely stopped, so they decided to create their own communication network. They built a new radio, strengthening their communication. After that, Aish started organizing new social events where the children realized how all humans live together. Aish no longer kept this effort to himself. He went out of his community and started renovating his city as well. He repopulated the hotels and then intended to fix the surrounding cities too. In the post-credits scene of the film, we see Aish with his grandson, who was telling him the entire story. The grandson tells him that this world is entirely our generation, which you now have to advance. Saying this, the story ends here.